Let's see that way. Okay. Up.
We're in the house. We're in your house. We're in your car. We're at lunch with you. Happy new day. Happy and healthy family and friends. Welcome to Happy New Day with Ari and Jay.
Hey.
Episode 38.
38. Yes.
8 and 3 comes to 11, which is a master number or the master number. So I trust that this information today on our chosen topic will have some mastery involved.
Indeed. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what's the topic?
What's the topic? First, how's everybody doing
I
today?
want to know. We have been away for some time. It's been a long time.
Yes, indeed.
Shouldn't have left you.
No, we should not have. As a matter of fact, hold on 1 second. Let me grab this over here.
How is everyone? How's everyone? Happy and healthy family and friends. Thank you for tuning in and for your patience. Peace.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, all right, let's get this thing started.
Okay, so the topic for today?
The topic for today is the importance of communication and trust in relationships.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Oh, hey, Mama, how you doing? Hey, Felicia, how you doing?
Hey.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Yeah, long time no see. Long time no see. And so, yes, the importance of communication and trust in relationships. Oh, you all bubbling. What's going on?
No, I'm interested to see what you're going to say.
You bursted.
No. As always. Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate your love.
Yeah, the juiciness has returned. Yes. So, yes, communication and trust. That's the lifeblood of relationships.
Okay.
It is the cornerstone. Without communication and trust, you have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Without communication and trust, we have nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. Wait, you got a whole bunch of notes over there. What's all that?
Communication is key. Clear and concise communication is key. Key. Nothing. Everything matters in what you say, how you portray. And like I said, clear and concise communication mean everything. Did you know if you go to court?
Yes.
And you don't say everything, it's a lie. It's called omission.
Interesting.
So clear and concise communication.
Yeah.
Just let it all out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, it's good to be back. We missed you all. It is having our daily tap in has shown to be something that we look forward to as much as the listening audience looks forward to. And so, yeah, we definitely miss you all. And it's fitting that we talk about communication. So that was part of our a big part of our absence, because we were working on some things, on some miscommunication that put us in a space that we needed to work on some things. And so, like everybody's, oh yeah, you guys are so happy, you guys are da. Yeah, I mean, that we are. Absolutely. Does that mean that we don't go through stuff from time to time? Yeah, we do. Do we argue? No. Do we have some disagreements or we have situations where we're out of alignment? Yes. And in that, it turns into a situation where, we kind of got to reassess some situations and figure out, how do we best get back into alignment? And so it's it's a process. It's the things that we're working on and working through, and we work through it, and we're back. Because once you come to an understanding, and the key when it comes to communication, the number one component, the driving force, is: do you trust what's being said to you, what's being conveyed to you? Do you trust the space that the other person is operating from? And once you have that trust, or you feel that that trust is lost, then it don't matter what they say. Yeah, but actions behind the communication is key and the driving force for making the communication work. And so once you trust, you have that trust, or you lose that trust, that's going to be the pivotal point that makes or breaks the communication. And so, and then also just reassessing and understanding, where the other person's coming from. What's up?
Because we're speaking to everyone, not only on behalf of our experience, which we consider teachable moments and lessons, as we're still learning each other,
Yeah, I mean, it's only been a little bit over a year. It's not like people be like, "Yeah, I've been together," but like, no. It's just been a little bit over a year. Yeah.
Yes. So, in the loss of trust, could that have a lot to do with, or more so to do with, past experiences?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because if we still have some things from our past that we're holding on to, it has a tendency to trigger us and magnify situations that happen in the present. And so a lot of times we'll have a tendency to pull in some unresolved issue, some unresolved challenge, some unresolved trauma from past experiences into the present, and then boom. And so something that probably would normally be minuscule because, a person's being triggered, now it turns into, an atomic emotional bomb. And so that's something to be aware of. That's why it's so important to, when it comes to, we speak of shadow work and we tap into situations. I mean, it's impossible to identify everything on your own. Life experience has a way of bringing these situations about. Yeah. And so, in our situation, and you know what? I'll speak to it to a certain degree. I'm not going to go all into details and all, but I will speak to the primary challenge we were having. Myself, I don't know a life without children. I've been a father longer than I can remember I can't even really remember not being a dad. Whereas Ariana, on the other hand, she doesn't have any biological children. And so her life it's hard for her to imagine a life with children. And so over the past year, you have someone that knows life. I don't know a life without children. I can't even fathom the idea. I can't even fathom if my children are gone too long, I feel some kind of way. Like there's an emptiness, like there's a loss, like there's some sort of, incompleteness. And I know that, we're supposed to be complete on our own, but I identify as a daddy. I don't know life outside of being a father in my adulthood. And so there's different approaches to general situations that Ariane, as relatively being becoming a matriarch of the family, that it's not a natural thing to her, because in not having to raise children, or having to having that that responsibility. In her situation, it's
Foreign.
yeah, it's foreign. Yeah, yeah, and it's like it's a on the job training. And so in my mind, like things that should be automatic, I'm like, oh yeah, like no, this is how we do, X, Y, Z. And she's like, really? Like, oh, okay, like that's how it's supposed to go down.
And it has been a process.
Yeah.
Going from single and child free to
Yeah.
a party of one to a party of six.
Yeah.
In months?
Yes. And so, and then you add in some miscommunication in the midst of that. And then you have to realize that, like, what's a normal world for myself is, a total foreign land for her. And so it was wrong for me to have expectations of her being able to like hit everything because of the way I see it, without me having the foresight to be able to see her side of it as I should have. And so that's where the line in the sand was drawn, and it was like, okay, how are we gonna, is this, where we at? Like, what does this really mean? Because basically we had a philosophical divide, philosophical, like, I'm over here, you're over here, over there, how is this all going to work out? And so then it really came down to the trust and having an understanding of, where is she coming from? And then her understanding of where am I coming from? Where are we operating from? Is a person operating from a position of malice, or are they operating from love? And there's just certain situations that, they hadn't been exposed to, and vice versa. What I'm thinking is natural, it is not something that, I've been learning since I was 17 years old.
You're still a child.
Yeah. And so, but I mean, I said that to say I got 32 years of experience in this space. And so, it's a process. And at the end of the day, what it boils down to is, as long as you know that the other person's operating from a good space, and you're able to openly talk about what's going on and discuss it and come to a level of understanding, then you can move forward. But trust is key in that communication. And so then the communication changes, or the way you're receiving it changes, because it's like, okay, do I trust you? Do I not trust you? Well, okay, I trust you. Okay, now, do I trust what you're saying? So if I trust you, then whatever you're saying to me, I need to receive it from that standpoint. And then once, we got past that and understanding that, it's not a level of, there was no malice, in the situation, that it was more of a differences in philosophy, differences in belief, differences in experience, then, then we're able to work through it and move forward, and bam, here we are today.
Yes. And in that time, or in this time, I feel a level of growth, which is the reason that you go through things. It's an exercise. You go to the gym to get stronger. Do you go in to clip your fingernails and something easy? No, you go in to do work. And that's part of the agreement to being in a relationship. Is going to be tests. So, growing, becoming closer, being stronger. I feel we're stronger now.
Yeah.
And with many yes, plenty of communication, but lots of conversations to come, because you pull from it and learn from it for sure. But it's true, we come from two different sides, two different spectrums, and that's one of the things I share with you initially. Like, look, I don't know a life with kids, and you know, you don't know a
I
life
don't know life without.
without
Yeah.
kids. So it's what you make it, you know, and what really has helped me was a book. I like to read books. A book called The Four Agreements, and here it is, The Four Agreements. Get it? It applies. It's applicable to everything in life. And how I explain the book is, it's like this book is the looking both ways before you cross the street in life, you know, and it applies to everything. And even with this, you know, one of the first agreement is be impeccable with your words. So because of love, because I know that there's death and life in the tongue, I'm careful with my communication, even if it's just being quiet, right? Then don't take anything personal. I know who I am in this situation, and I know I wouldn't be here if I didn't love and respect what you have, what you came into my life with. Then, yeah, I mean, those two things, and stay true. You know, what I did yesterday, today, and tomorrow is going to be the same. So everything will just fall in line, but I'm not changing. So it's not in a bad way. I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing and staying consistent with the things that everyone enjoys. Yeah. So that made it easy. Yeah, it made it easy. And that's the point, ease.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so, in the situation, a lot of people they always ask me, like, Jeff, how you always seem like you get along with everybody. You don't have any like enemies and stuff like that, or you don't really. I make it a point to, once I found peace within myself, I look to finding peace in others as well. And so once I really got that inner peace, everything that I looked at, you know, as being an extension of my environment, has to fall in line with that. And so once and then I adapted the embodiment of agape, godly love, universal love, unconditional love. Now, does that mean that I love everybody in the same capacity or the same way? No. What that means is because the expression of that love may change depending on who it is I'm dealing with. But universally, I love everybody, even my enemies. Because actually, I feel sorry for them, because, you know, if you got issues with me, it's not because I did something to you. It's because there's something going on with you. Because I make it a point to live my life from a position of peace and a position of honor. Had I always done that? No. I had some challenges in my back in the day and whatnot, and I worked to better myself in that space every single day. But once I adopted the mode of, agape, of that godly love, that unconditional love, that really took me to a position where I was ready to openly receive, because I had a closed heart before. And when you're closed off to love, or it's sort of like, I'm going to hold this back, it holds you back. Yeah, but to the extent that you're withholding, yourself or whatnot, that'll start to tear you up after a while. It starts to cut you off from, the higher levels of living in this world, in this dimension. And so, like, when you talk about the heart chakra, that's the separation between from the higher and the lower and the higher energy centers in our body. And so if your heart isn't open, you can't connect. It makes it difficult. Actually, it makes it impossible to really tap in and open up your higher chakras and connect with the Most High. And so that's something to be aware of. And so in adopting it, because people say, well, you love your enemies. Yeah, I don't have no beef with them. I love them from afar. I don't allow them. And so what I've learned to do and how I make that happen is that once I assess what a person's limitations are, once I assess what a person's life experience is, then I deal with them from that space. And because I deal with them from the space that they're in, there's no issues. Or if there is, I know I know where not to take a person, or I know what a person's limits are, then we function within those limits, and life is great. And so our interactions become, solid. And so even when I look at over time, the people that I was tight with when I was, a kid and whatnot, as I evolved or as we evolved at different, in different directions, our connection was still where we were when we met or when we were tight. And does it mean that I love them any less? No. It's just that our interactions a little bit different. We don't have we're not talking all the time. We're not hooking up at the, hanging out where we used to hang out at, where they still may be hanging out at, stuff like that. And so that's something to really, that's helped me is, just dealing with people where they are and not trying to, if they want, they want to expand above and beyond that, fine. But if they're content with where they are, then you deal with them where they are and you love them for who they are in that space and who they've been in your life. And, that's something that's really helped me, because once I stopped holding on to stuff all the time and, well, you did this and you did that. But I'm like, okay, but does that discount all the good stuff that happened prior to that? Yeah, so you forgive, never forget. But you forgive and you move on, but you never deal with that person or deal with those individuals where they are. And from that point forward, it's helped me to develop solid relationships with my friends, family members that I no longer really deal with because some family members, they be on some toxic stuff. And so you got to be aware of that. And so just love them from afar. And keep it pushing, because holding on to stuff, that's the same as drinking poison and hoping somebody else is gonna die. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's up?
Oh, nothing. It's that what you said is true. What you said is very true.
Yeah.
With their weaknesses and their strengths.
Yeah. So, did you have anything else to add? You good?
I feel like we've the main part is that we've come back to our family and our friends.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So, to reiterate.
Yes. What's most important, we talked about our communication. We talked about communication with family and friends and everything. But how about your communication with yourself?
Ooh. Shoot, that's where it all starts.
Communication with yourself. Going into that prayer mode, going into that self-treatment, that meditation. And I've even been listening to a series of chanting positive affirmations, and it makes a difference with the positive self-talk or positive self-speech. And it helps pull things through, helps pull things along the way. And in the instances where there are adverse situations, you have something to take your mind off of it in that moment.
No, absolutely. And to piggyback off of that, your communication with yourself, trusting your communication with yourself. Yeah, because I've had, I can't tell you how many clients, they come to me and they second guess themselves. And so it turns into like a bunch of voices in their heads, because it's like, I don't know whether to trust my intuition or not. And, and particularly with, ladies, your intuition is your gift, to the extent, that seated hawk energy. That is something that the biggest thing that separates women from men is their natural, innate ability to that women's intuition is, man. I mean, the knowing things without actually knowing why you know it. That feeling. And so, modern day society has, gotten us in the mode of, everything's done on a peripheral. And so a woman's instincts, that knowing that is, that goes unchallenged, especially if it's developed. And so, yes, being able to trust your inner thoughts, trust that inner communication, that's something men develop, but women come with it naturally. Women, for the most part, are naturally empathic, much more so than a man is. And so that's something that you want to be able to come into reliance on, trusting your inner thoughts. Now, what frames that is what you're putting in, what you're internalizing, because that'll mess that up. Because if you're listening to or feeding your feeding yourself with toxic TV shows, toxic music, toxic food, toxic, your life and everything around you is toxic, then you might want to have some trust issues with some of your thoughts. But if you're feeding yourself, if you're positively reinforcing yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, then you'll be able to really look at and then be able to govern your thoughts accordingly and start to really trust in that intuition. And so, yes, that inner talk, that inner communication, that's key, because if you can't trust yourself, you're going to have a very, very big major issues trying to trust somebody else. And so it starts everything. So, whatever is, so below is, on top. Whatever's inside, it becomes your external. The external is a reflection of what goes on inside. So, yes, you have to be able to communicate with yourself. You have to be able to trust yourself. And then from that point forward, it allows you to be able to have trust in others.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So communication and even consideration. Mm-hmm. Is if it matters enough, then you have a level of consideration for the other person, for yourself and your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. You have any final words, though?
This feels good.
Yes, it feels good.
Yeah.
Real good.
Just go forward with
really good.
A moment. There we go. So trust, communication, consideration, internally and externally, how we deal with one another in our lives, family, friends. It all matters. And to take the time.
Communication matters.
Yeah, it's everything. To take the time to develop within. What are you reading? Oh no, I just. Taking the time to develop an appreciation. You're considerate for things that you appreciate. It's worth having clear and concise communication with the things that you appreciate. And trust is worth appreciation. I appreciate trust. It all goes, but it has to be worth something to put something into to make something happen. I'll make that a T-shirt. Okay. No, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. So Felicia says, yeah, the toxic TV shows are getting worse. I only get the previews of yeah, absolutely. That the TV, it's there's the reason why they call it television programming, because it sinks into your subconscious, and over time, it starts to become a part of who you are and the way that you function and the way that you move in life.
Yeah, and I was sharing with, might have been my dad the other day, where I don't typically listen to music with words. I listen to frequencies. Because of those word patterns, and you listen to whatever song, and then after a while, just as I was mentioning about the positive affirmational chanting, that's the same thing with music. So whatever message that is that's being conveyed to the masses, I don't need that. I have my own thoughts, and they work pretty well for me, so I'll stick with those. But using someone else's thoughts and whatever they were going through at the time, and Heartbreak Hotel, and I'm cool. Right. So
yeah, Felicia says, I think folks want to communicate with themselves, but want to keep thinking like they do and wonder why things don't. Oh yeah. That is true.
It's a journey.
Evolution. 'Cause a lot of times, what I noticed, the thing that really started to separate me from a lot of my peers from back in the day, was the concept of arrested development. People get into a certain point, and that's it. They're like, okay, I'm 18 now, and this is who I'm going to be. And they stop evolving. Evolution. I'll be evolving till the day I die. I'm always going to be trying to, in a mode of bettering myself and being better than I was the day before. I can't. Life would be so boring if you just did if there was no growth.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
To stay where you are.
Yeah.
There's no challenge.
That's uncomfortable to me, though. To be stagnant.
I totally get you. There's a population where how it was, it can be exactly the same.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Yeah, and I've seen that, and so when I make mention of people evolve at different rates in different directions, so a lot of the the individuals that I came up with that I no longer, I still got love for them, that never changes. But I just realized that, they still who they were back 20, 30 years ago. And so there's a level of, there's growth. And so, so when you mention, people, they communicate with themselves, Felicia, when you mentioned, people communicate with themselves, but, they don't, but they want to keep thinking, the same way. Because, where I was at when I was 40 is way different now, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, compared to, now that I'm about to be 50. It's like, I can't even imagine, still thinking and functioning, that way anymore. Yeah. Because I was so far, I'm so far removed from that. that way of being back then. And I laugh at myself back then. Like, 'cause it's funny, when I was a kid, I used to, after anything after 18 just seemed like a blur. Like, like it's all the same. But, from the time, from being the difference between 10 and 20, the difference between being 40 and 50, what I've learned over the last decade, I can't even quantify it. And so I'm just looking at like, wow. And things are like picking up now. It's like almost like I'm starting over again. And, really like learning from the first day forward. But that approach to life makes life, exciting and worth living. Yes. It's called, let's see, Felicia says, it's called approved sometimes because, I was called approved sometimes because I don't live my life. Oh, man. Oh, there we go. Because the words are white on the screen. So they get lost in my shirt. Now I can see it. I was called approved sometimes because I don't live my life of constant turn up, drinking, and partying. Then they see me living my best life and looking rested and happy. They're unhappy, looking worn out. Oh yeah, worn out. Well, I'm approved. I'm good. I'm good with that. I feel you. I feel you.
You're set apart. That's what that is. You're set apart.
Yeah. And so, turning up from time to time is, it's what it is. But when that's a lifestyle, when that's an everyday, when there's just, because I came up with folks, that's they get down, like every day, they getting bent. And I'm like, man, how do you function?
And after work, go to the liquor store, grab that 100 proof. I have been there before in my life, in my past life.
Yeah, that'll tear you up.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah, to tear you up. I was in that at a point, but what that spoke to was the depressive state of being that I was in. And so I was trying to forget or escape, and I was escaping through alcohol. Yeah, and so that was a stage in my life way back when. Probably was in my 20-ish. Yeah.
That could
20-ish,
be and would be considered a miscommunication with yourself, where you're looking outside of yourself for relief from something that you're not really dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. Yeah, because then, and that led to an ulcer when I was 22. Yeah. So that lifestyle is everything, and so I can't imagine going back to that because the thought of not feeling energetic and alive every day because you got folks that are walking around, half dead.
Zombie.
Yeah, the zombie apocalypse, it's not coming. It's been here, and so that's why it's very, very, very important that we govern what we allow ourselves, the environment that we have around us, because bad in equals bad out.
Yeah.
Negative in equals negative out. When people say that I'm a product of the environment, yes, that's true. And so that's why it's necessary to make sure that the peace that you desire to have within you, it's reflected on what's around you.
Yeah. Communication with each other, just going through all the communication that's going on, communication with self, communication with source. That's the biggest difference. I would say now more so than ever, I see it in you and I know it in myself. We communicate with source.
Yes.
More so. Even if it's just going out and being in the sun for a bit, in quiet time. So it all matters.
Yes.
You can't get to it in one day, but start today.
Yes. And then eventually, one day will become today. Let's see. Felicia says you might be right. The zombie apocalypse is something. Yeah.
Looking crazy.
You talk to some folks, and you start to see where their mind is at, and you realize that they're not really thinking; they're just repeating some iteration of something that they saw on TV. They're not like independent thought is at an all-time low. Objective thought, like, hey, you know what? Let me weigh both sides and see, let me, come up with my own independent opinion. Folks don't do that now. Folks is, we talk about it, that mind control situation is real. Yeah, the person having any kind of, original thought. Yeah, most folks just parrot what they heard on the news. Yeah, and then that's a whole nother story in itself. But yeah, I think we're good, baby. You good, baby?
I am good. Yes. Yeah. This will work.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get on to our days.
Yeah.
And
shoot, it's time for me to break my fast.
Trust that you guys will be great getting on with your days. And thank you for staying with us, for tuning in, and your patience and everything.
Yeah. So we'll be back live and direct every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time. Yeah, ready to rock and roll and bring some more good info. With that being said, I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
And we love you all.
Yes, we do.
Blessings.
Peace.